And so last night, um, I was on a call with a teacher who I haven't spent a lot of time with, but her name's Cassandra. I don't know, can't remember her last name, but she's part of the 3PG grounding groups that we have access to. We meet with them, like you, like where I met you.
Right, right.
And she actually works with horses, people on horses.
I met her in Peru. I know exactly who you're talking about, Cassandra. She's
Oh,
wonderful. Yeah.
wonderful. Well, she said something that really blew my mind. And I don't know her exact words, but it was something to the effect, because we're potentially, some of us, potentially sharing with other people. And she said something to the effect that people already know. They already know it. Now that sounds something like you're not right nodding like yeah, but I heard it in a totally new way. I was like, that's right. They already know what I know. Like I really saw it, and it just blew my mind wide open. And she said what she said. It all kind of clicked into a new level. It takes so much pressure off of talking to people because they already know it. And if I can say one more thing, because I know I've been talking for a while, but so today, just before we got on, went down to the coffee shop down the street, and there was a woman sitting there, and she was just looked very open, very friendly, kind of like you notice when people are kind of glowing. Um, but what I noticed was she has the same exact computer that I have that I just bought. It's a Mac, and you can't see it, but it has this golden color. So I was sitting across from her for like an hour, and like a lot of times, like even if people seem friendly, I like to kind of just leave people alone sometimes, just. But I just was inspired when we made eye contact, and I said, "I have that same computer that you have," and it just opened up this conversation. And I swear, we were just talking, and she could have been the things she was saying to me. She could have been teaching me the principles. She was talking about forgiveness. She was talking about getting over things. She was talking about compassion. She was talking about integrity. It just blew my mind. And the upshot of all of that is she has her own business. She's a marketing consultant, and she works with doctors, and she has a whole team. I mean, she looks like she's 25. I don't know how old she is, but she's just got this brilliant mind. And she was asking me about me, and I was talking about art and pet sitting. And at one point she started giving me some advice on my art business. And I just stopped. I said, like, can I hire you? Like, can I hire you as my coach? Like as my business coach? She said, yes, of course. And she said, we didn't even talk about money. She said, we can just sit and meet and we can find a way to exchange. And I said, well, here's my website. If you like one of my paintings, you can have that. And she picked one out. But Lori, it does. I mean, I know I've been talking about a lot of things, but it also goes back to what you were saying about what our wisdom is telling us. I mean, come on, here's a person who has my same exact computer. And I don't know, some of you might know the journey I went on to buy a computer. I bought and returned like 5 computers before I found this one. And it's beautiful. It's like a pinkish gold, and it's you know, and I was just inspired to say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opening, I have that computer,
Yeah.
but this beautiful opening, and again, like the wisdom that was coming out of this. Sid always would say this, right? If you pay attention, you hear people speaking wisdom.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, what a great story.
right. Yeah, blown away by all that.
There was so much in that story. The flow of life that you were on, right? How when you just are open without inserting, without us inserting ourselves, our beliefs, our thoughts, and you just open, wisdom will just lead you along. And you know, the beautiful thing I heard about that is, yes, everybody already knows the principles. And that's why when people are learning from, whatever teacher, from Sid or whoever, else is sharing the principles, that it's their knowing already that grows, that expands with that teacher, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, because they know it, but they don't necessarily know that they know it,
There you go.
or
That was my point. There you
they,
go.
they don't have the appreciation for like, oh, I've already got it, and they start seeing it and seeing it, and yeah, that's the thing, and I think that's what we offer, because to me, almost like in a session, you can just say, there it is, there it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
they they
Yeah.
they they come to appreciate that they already know it, and their level of understanding rises.
And
Yeah.
they begin to appreciate what they already know.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. What a great story.
I know. I'm so buzzing
I
from
know. I
having
can imagine, right?
so much you take of of like the joy that comes out.
Yeah. What did
And
you,
Pallavi, I love that
Linda, Pallavi, what did you guys
your
hear in this? There was
kitty
so
your
much.
kitty made.
Say
My
that again, Tom.
kitty wants to get to know you.
Right.
Hey, that's Mia.
Oh,
She likes to bite, but she's
Oh,
basically careful. Oh, Lindy.
oh, wait,
They are so pretty.
Linda. Mine's outside. The one I'm taking care of is outside.
Ah.
Yeah.
We can make a cat Zoom group here.
No.
We can, they know how to sit in silence.
Tom, what are you sitting for this week? Is it a cat or dog?
Two cats. I might be able to get a view of it, but it's basically really sweet. There's this cat. Let's see, it's outside now, and it's. Can you see it?
Yeah, just
And then there's another cat that they don't even know who this cat is. It's black. It's called Midnight, and it just shows up for food. And they think it's a stray, but I think it roams the neighborhood because it's very large. I think it roams the neighborhood and people feed it, but it comes up to the door and, but there's basically two cats,
Did you already talk, like Lindy, you put a question in the group, right? Like, did you guys already talk about that?
No, I haven't. So yeah, Tom, thanks for your reply to that. I did get a chance to get back in and keep the conversation going there, but thank you for your reply to that. Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. It's just thinking more about those really yucky thoughts, and how when you're in that place and it's so real and it's just it's like concrete, it's there, it's your experience, and just thinking back to the day I had on Monday compared to the day I'm having the next day, the change in that is, you think that thought will never pass, so that experience through the thought will never pass, it will never change, it's lingering no matter what you do. And I think the more you try to do something with it, the longer it stays there, the longer you're in that experience. But it's just this almost free will that we have to choose a different thought. I can choose a different experience to have, but yet, why can I not do that? Why can that not happen? So that's a big conundrum for me at the minute. I have this choice. It's only me that can make that choice. change the experience, but yet it's almost impossible to do for me. Not
Yeah, I think it's impossible for me to do too. That's a great question. I love that question because a lot of people think we have free will. Why can't we just conjure up a better thought when we don't like the one we're having? Doesn't it seem like we should be designed that way?
it's almost like it comes back to this idea that I've always had this idea that I'm in my own way. I'm standing in my own way. And I've maybe never explained that very well, but it's just that I'm creating the experience and keeping that experience there. No one else is doing it to me. So surely I can just change my thought and have a more pleasant experience.
Yeah,
But
like presto magic, right?
Yeah. I remember I wrote a blog about free will a year ago, maybe, and I wrote 2 parts exactly for that reason. A little bit later, I heard Dickon talk about it, and that was very helpful to me. And actually, Tom and Laurie, I saw your answers to Lindy's question, and I really liked them. I wanted to write something, but I was too busy today. But I just wanted to add that to me, it looks like it's a question of the level of consciousness. It's like in a very low mood, there is no free will for me, because in a very low mood, it looks like it's all very real and my mind is super seductive with the busy thinking. And somehow it got me believing that there is something in there, something to find, something interesting. And you're absolutely right, it's still me giving the energy there, but it's in that moment it isn't in my hands, because I can't decide it from the same state of mind that is the state of mind that's busy, being in that thing. And
sorry,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that state of mind feels very permanent. It feels like there
okay.
is no other state of mind. This is it.
But yeah, okay.
When you're in it, that's right. It's like you said,
But,
cement, Linda.
yeah.
Right.
You mean when you're in it, it feels like that, right?
Yeah, it's so permanent.
Yeah. But is it really permanent? Like, I mean, are you in it right now?
No.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
in that moment. It feels
Yeah.
very, very permanent.
Yeah. I understand. And I think that's actually maybe the thing that I would say changes over time in keeping in this, being in this conversation and watching it, and flagging these moments where you see that it's not true, because you're not in it right now. So the next time you're in it and you get this thought of this is permanent and it will always be there, at some point you will, like, at least this is how it happened for me. At some point I noticed it. I just noticed, oh, something's not true about that, because I know yesterday I was listening to a nice talk and I wasn't in that state of mind and I wasn't feeling that way. And so I think at some point there's noticing that these kinds of thoughts are just part of being in a low mood. Like, it's all the same thing. It's not like you're in a low mood and then you got this clear part of your mind that is thinking about being in a low mood. No, it's all part of the same thing. And you know what I mean? Does it make sense? Yeah. And so I think what happens is that it just doesn't look so convincing anymore at some point. I think that's all that happens. Like, at least for me, what happened is that right now it feels like there's simply no value and no reality to these kind of thoughts. So even when I'm in there most of the time, there is a part of me that remembers that. And I think we talked about it in another group. It's like the as long as you believe in it, it's like this downward spiral, because all the thinking about the low mood is making you even feel worse. But at some point it kind of shifts and there's this new experiences, and then it's like an upward spiral, because you understand that all these kind of thoughts are just part of it, and so they have nothing interesting to tell you. I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe the others chip in. I'm not sure I'm good at explaining what I mean.
Oh, I thought that was a great explanation. In fact, as you're talking about it, I'm getting this image of, being in the basement in that cement feeling and wanting more of the penthouse. Like, why can't I feel more like the penthouse? But you can't because you're in the basement, you're in that lower level. And just knowing that we're in that lower level is healing itself.
Yeah.
Because
but it
then
often
you
doesn't
realize if you realize
Yeah.
that you're feeling so glum as an indication of just being in a low state of mind, like Pallavi said, that keeps us safe from taking it seriously, knowing that it's temporary, because we've had enough of those experiences in our life that we pop out of it at some point. We are in a higher floor, a higher level of consciousness. And we look back and we think, well, why did I think that was such a big deal back then? Does that make sense?
But to me, for a long time, it felt like I was in a low mood, and I knew I was in a low mood, but it still didn't change. And there's something weird about that, right? You feel like it's just your thinking, but still you're still trying to get out of it with your thinking. And so to me it feels like this one insight, this insight about it all being just thought. It seems to have like a million different levels to me, and I feel like I'm only seeing a little, but I'm seeing a little bit more than last year, and it's very helpful. So, but I feel like I'm revisiting this all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really the bottom line, is just knowing it's all thought. It's all coming from thought. And that's the thing that keeps us from taking it as seriously. But you're absolutely right. You could, believe me, I have tried to change my thinking and my experience when I'm out of sorts. Never, it never worked. And that's why positive thinking was a fad. It came and it went. And that's why they had a lot of Saturday Night Live spoofs about trying to change what you think, because nobody was able to do that. Or maybe they thought they were doing that, like they were working on it. But it does, we don't work that way. It's not how anybody works, to be able to just change our thought and feel better. And that's, what just came to me? You know how people will say after something really bad has happened, they'll say something, like, oh, don't feel so bad. Oh, here's one. I broke my wrist once, and I'm waiting to get an x-ray, and it's painful, and I'm really upset, pretty much knowing that it's broken. A nurse walked by the room. She didn't stop in. She walked by the room and she said, "Smile for the picture." I'm crying. I think I just broke my wrist, and you're telling me smile for the picture? But, that's the innocence of people in general, and practitioners, nurses, doctors, whoever, that'll come out with things. And when I was having that Microsoft incident, and my bank was passing me from one department to another, everyone would end the conversation with, "Have a nice day." I wanted to say, screw you, have a nice day. I think they just stole my identity, and you're going to tell me to have a nice day? So, it's nice to have this conversation and be able to laugh at that stuff, because look at the innocence of people, whether it's a nurse, a bank person, or ourselves. Like, it's so innocent to feel bad and want to feel better, or want to make other people feel better. When, like Tom's story, Tom knowing, you just listen, and at some point you'll hear what the person doesn't realize they already know. And that's where you point them. You point out to them what they are saying, but they're not realizing what they're knowing and what they're saying, what they know about what they're saying. It came out pretty convoluted, but I think you guys have a sense of where I'm going with this. So yeah, no judgment that we're bad or we're in the wrong place or we should feel better. What's wrong with us? When I first was learning about the principles, I got down on myself a lot that I shouldn't get down. I know about thought. What am I doing getting down? Well, over time, the getting down part lessened, and it didn't happen as often. And when it did happen, it was, I was able to be so much more resilient because I just didn't feed it. I didn't focus on it. I didn't make something of it.
But I really liked what Tom said in the answer about, I think maybe you too, Loie, I don't remember, about listening for a feeling,
Yeah.
Because that is actually something that does work for me. I don't know if it's just me, but like when I'm feeling really bad and having a busy mind, like this idea of doing absolutely nothing about it, I find it kind of hard because it tends to get more than. And I hear Sid talk about listening for a feeling a lot, and at some point I realized for me this means or I found that for me this nice quiet feeling is basically always around the other feeling. Like I might be angry here or sad or something, but as soon as I open my awareness a little bit and I look to all the space around my feelings and thoughts, like around me, there is a lot of quiet and peace there. And so I find this quite a helpful pointer with the feeling.
Yeah, that's great that you brought that up.
Who was that?
Brett is trying to join us. He may have thought we're starting at 3.
Yeah.
And probably something you just said
I
there,
know
I
what
think
it is. He, yeah, I am going to meet with him. It's already 3:00. Wow. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah, that hour really flew. What'd you say, Tom?
But what you just said, I think is really good too, because Sid, I think you might have said this somewhere too. Sid really only gave us like one instruction, which is look inside for a nice feeling. And the thing that I've discovered is even the act, if you want to call it an act, of looking within and listening, that is a nice feeling. So
Yeah.
it's right there. That's the nice feeling, and then it can blossom into something else, and maybe you still feel the yucky other stuff, but the listening and the looking in is a nice feeling. That's how easy it is.
Yeah.
It does, and like I said, it doesn't always feel the same way, but what you said was, and I love the way you described the spirals, just the naturalness of it. When we go so far, it just bounces up, and but anyway.
Yeah.
I love that, Tom. Of listening for a nice feeling. That is a nice feeling. That's exactly how it feels to me. It's like I'm looking with love at myself or whatever at whatever it's there, and it immediately gets another flavor and more space around it, and yeah.
Yeah, and hopeful too, right? That you've experienced nice feelings.
Yeah.
Looking for it doesn't mean that you're searching or frantically trying to make it happen. It just means, for me anyway, the hope, that it's hopeful that we always do find a nice feeling again. That's wild to me. Everybody does. even if, at first it's just a moment here and a moment there, just noticing it seems to grow those moments.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to leave, guys. I have another call.
Great seeing you,
Nice
Paula.
seeing you.
See you next Wednesday.
Take care.
I gotta
Bye.
stop too. Take care. Have a great week.